using Bo at corner necessity.
Why are you back there, Rob?
Well, I just want to be disrespectful, and if I have to leave during the
Oh, okay. All right. I appreciate that. Something about Bo.
Is that out of necessity, or is that something you guys have been kind of thinking about?
I would say a little bit of both. Obviously he's a real talented player, and is produced, and I just love everything about the guy. How he shows up every day, ready to compete and give his best effort. Matter of fact, I showed some clips of him in the team meeting this morning, just of what he does, and you can always expect a lot of great things when whatever it is he's doing. So he was, he was obviously one day just talking about how he's better than his brother. So we said, okay, now go prove it. But I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. But his brother's pretty good player as well. I just thought that if there is somebody that could potentially do both, he would be that guy. And I think a lot of it is just from his production on teams and just his ability to go out there and make play on teams.
Is there a play some plays you think of in these coverages that makes you say this guy could be playing on defense?
Well, I think it's more, again, his play on special teams, more so than maybe something that we saw from the offensive side of the ball. It's just you don't have too many wideouts in this league that are as effective as he is on teams.
So, Matt, how do you see this? Today was the first day, so I don't get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like it's going to be pretty fluid, I would say. I kind of presented it to him, and I know obviously there's a lot of attention with Hunter down there in Jacksonville, what he's doing, and so we just kind of presented it to him, and he said he was up for the challenge.
The clips you showed of him on offense, defense, or special teams?
It was just more or less some of the workout stuff we were doing, just how he strains.
How do you feel about your cornerback group now that you know Jair's not going to be part of it, and not just the three guys at the front of it, but some of the depth you have as well?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of a work in progress right now. I mean, we don't have pads on or anything like that, and there's a lot of limitations in regards to what you can and can't do. So I think there's a lot of wait and see in terms of who are going to be the other guys. I think we know that three of those guys have gone out and played significant snaps, and we got a lot of young guys that are just kind of unknown.
I know it's a long ways away, like Jason said, it's day one, but what on a 48-man roster would it give you if you added that every day to play offense, defense, and special teams?
I think it gives you a ton of flexibility. So, I think versatility, whether it's, a situation like this or like we've seen with what we do with a lot of our offensive linemen, how they can play multiple spots, I think versatility is critical, and it creates added value for that player.
Looking at his Rutgers bio, I didn't see any references to him having played defense before. What does he have?
He does. He's played it before. I want to say it was at Rutgers because we talked about it, and he said that they moved him back over to wide receiver there. He caught the ball too well, so they put him in wide out. It's a joke, but. Yeah, he's got. I mean, again, it's kind of hard right now with just the time that we're in. But yeah, as far as like his movement skills and all that, he looks great.
When you hired Covington, or since then, have you seen anything to suggest that he can get a little something more out of your pass rushers?
Well, yeah, I love how our guys have been working. I think just the drills, are very game-like, and just the emphasis on what we're trying to get accomplished. A lot of it is on just getting off the football. I think he does a great job with all that. I've been really impressed with him, not only as a as a coach, but getting to know him and just the type of person he is, I think the guys have done a great job responding to him as well.
Matt, you mentioned the three corners that play a lot of snaps. As the new guy, how does Hobbs kind of fit into that?
Yeah, he's done a great job, and obviously he's very versatile. I mean, he's another guy that can, we believe that he can go inside or outside.
Yesterday, Mark Murphy said that in some ways, the playing without Jair so much that you know how to handle it. Is there something to that, that there's, you know, you got to see these guys as much as you did, that you know what it's like playing without a guy who was your number one court? Like, is there actual value in that, or is it just sort of a...
I mean, yeah, I think that can be the case with, I mean, it's football, right? There's things that happen, and you've got to be able to pivot and adjust, and, you know, maybe whether it's game plan wise or just guys going in there and picking up kind of where the other guy left off. So, but that's just the nature of the beast.
You know, he was obviously so good as a man-to-man cover guy and taking another one wide out. The guys that you have fit better what you and Jeff want to do from a coverage standpoint, or at least...
Well, I think the first thing you always look at from a corner is, can they play man-to-man? And if you got it, but it's not just, you need multiple people that can play man-to-man. So it's, whether it's safeties and backers, I mean, there's always, you know, matchups that you got to account for. So I would say, but one of the first things that you look at when you're evaluating a guy is their ability to go out and play man coverage, because that's arguably the toughest thing to do.
I know we're not supposed to read too much into who's with what group, but that Donovan Jennings got the ability to work with the one state.
I didn't even notice it, to be honest with you. So, excuse me?
Sorry, what have you seen out of him in year two?
Yeah, I think he's competing. Again, like, a lot of this is jog through. So, like, it's just hard to get a real evaluation on. I think we'll have a better indication once we get into camp and start going full speed. I mean, the only thing we did full speed outside of the 7-on-7, which obviously O-line, D-line aren't involved with, is the 2-minute drill. And even then, just there's so many limitations because you can't have contact, you know, so it's like full speed until the contact. But as far as just his work habits and showing up and giving great effort, I think he's done a nice job with that. He's helping out and coaching the other guys right now. So he's worked on the side, but we thought it was best to keep him out today.
Can I ask you about Anthony Belton? Your sense of where Luke was going to put him as his primary position to start camp. What this kid brings to you.
Yeah, I think he's another guy that just kind of fits the mold of somebody that can play multiple positions. So I would say he can play any of the four. I think that he's that talented of a guy, and he's obviously, there's a lot for him to learn, but he's done a nice job.
You always talk about competition, and obviously with the specialists, there's competition not on the roster. But do you feel good about the idea of going into training camp and potentially the season? I know Alex is here in the international program, but do you feel good about potentially going into training camp with your three specialists basically set?
Very good, yes.
Why do you feel good about that?
I mean, have you been watching out there? They look pretty good. So, and they've played a lot of ball. So, and they've done well in games. So, I feel really good about it.
More, please. Rick, it looked like Simmons playing safety exclusively. Do you see him being sort of a hybrid guy eventually? You know, play sort of a
Safety? I was like, am I missing something, Spoon?
I swore I saw him at safety and you're right.
I mean, if you did, they did something today with, a lot of times, especially once we get going in the 2-minute, I was just like solely focused on what was happening up front to make sure that we're doing it the right way.
some things that where he.
Yeah, I mean, his athleticism shows, and especially like this time of the year when we're out there and doing a lot of 7-on-7 and his movement skills. I think he's done a great job on teams. So, you know, it's just getting him up to speed so he feels really comfortable with what we're asking him to do so he can go out there and play fast. I mean, we've had a lot of experience going against him, not only in Arizona, but also with the Giants. So he's a guy that you definitely have to account for.
Some of those less experienced cornerbacks, what did y'all see from King last year in the practice squad, and what is he kind of dealing with right now?
Yeah, he it's nothing long term. He'll be back for training camp, but he'll be out for the duration, or, you know, the last, I guess we got 2 more days. But he's done a nice job. I think he's much better physically than he was a year ago. I mean, he's a young man. I think he came into this league, he's 21 years old. So that's to be expected, that there's going to be some maturity with his body and his mind, for that matter. And I think he's done a great job attacking it the right way. So I'm excited to see him when we get back to camp.
You said he was well ahead of schedule, or at least it looks like he's out there.
Oh, it looks great. He's doing a great job, too, being a leader and doing what he can do in terms of trying to help those young guys get up to speed.
Last one, guys. When you drafted Jenkins, there was a lot of talk about him possibly being a center at some point. It's been a long road to get there, but what is it about him that makes you guys think that he could be not just, you know, fine at center, but a really good one?
Well, he's done it for us, and when I mean, shoot, he went in, I don't know how many games last year and played. Was it 2? Yeah. And he did a nice job. So, like, we feel really confident with his ability to go in there. Obviously, he's been in the system for a really long time, and is extremely knowledgeable in regards to making all the identifications and just pointing out the targets, not only in the run game but in the pass game. And so just that experience alone, he's done a really good job with it. I think the sky's the limit for him.